All right. So I just want to say thank you all for attending this virtual event organized by Word Up Community Bookshop, Librería Comunitaria. We are a bookshop and art space run by local residents, many of whom are volunteers. Beyond our virtual events, we can be found at 2113 Amsterdam Avenue at the corner of 165th Street in Washington Heights. In person and online, we have hosted events for all ages and sell used and new books in English and Spanish. And you can check us out at www.wordupbooks.com to place orders. And now you can also pick up your orders Tuesday to Friday, 1 to 5 p.m. And so another thing, and I can provide a little bit more explanation for this, because we're not open to the public for browsing at this time and don't know when we will be, we started a GoFundMe campaign to maintain our space and meet our obligations while closed. Oh. And part of that helps pay for things like rent, but also for, it supplements programs like Lomas Lit. So I'm Memphis, Washington. Many people some of our participants are part of the Lomas Lit program. I am the youth programming coordinator for the shop. And this is really exciting because at the end of the summer, one of the bonus books that we gave out to some of our former Lomas Lit participants was Never Look Back. And the book that we're going to be reading in November is David Tung, Can't Have a Girlfriend Until He Gets into an Ivy League college.
How do you abbreviate that, Ed?
I just have the hashtag David Tung can't.
Yeah. Oh. Right. Hashtag David Tung can't. Okay. And so that's been really fun, and it helps us pay for things like free books and continue to expand our programming onto different age groups and everything. So thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming. And during the event, you can feel free to add comments in the chat panel, which you can access by clicking the chat button at the bottom of your screen. And if you have questions, please click the Q&A button and put the questions there so that questions don't get lost in the chat. All right, and now I'm just going to do brief introductions of our featured authors. So I'll start with Lilliam, who is the author of Never Look Back. I'm reading your bio from the book, which everyone should have. So Lilliam Rivera is an award-winning writer and author of the young adult novels, Dealing in Dreams and The Education of Margot Sanchez, which is really fun. Her work has appeared in the Washington Post, the New York Times, and Elle, to name a few. Lilliam grew up in the Bronx and currently lives in Los Angeles, where she's been for about 20 years, but she comes back to New York all the time, as I learned today.
It's true.
And Ed Lin is a native New Yorker. Oh, wait. Sorry. Oh, okay. Ed Lin, a native New Yorker of Taiwanese and Chinese descent, is the first author to win 3 Asian American Literary Awards and is an all-around stand-up kind of guy. His books include Waylaid, published by Kaya in 2002, a mystery trilogy set in New York's Chinatown in the 1970s. He's got This Is a Bust, This Is a Bust, Snakes Can't Run, and One Red Bastard, and a mystery series set in Taipei, Ghost Month, Incensed, not incest, Incensed, and 99 Ways to Die. Lin lives in Brooklyn with his wife, actress Cindy Cheung, and son. And also, Waylaid is one of Veronica, who is our general coordinator's favorite books, and we're so excited to have you. I'm going to jump off and let them do the rest of the talking, but just thank you for coming and continuing to support our bookshop. We love you both. All right.
Thank you, Memphis.
Wow, awesome. Thank you.
Ed, I just want to say, let me just start off by saying that I really loved this YA debut.
Oh, thank you so much.
What was great about it is that not only did it make me made me laugh, but also there was really these heartbreaking moments that I was just like, yes, I might be laughing, but also I was feeling the pain of this character. Like I was feeling what the struggle that he was having within his family and within the school, and in, when he's in Chinatown, all these like different places that are pulling him apart, and he just wants to be, he's just trying to find his place. So it was like And that's the epitome of what a young adult book should do.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I'm hoping that, you know, I don't know if you want to start reading first and then we could get into our discussion.
Oh, sure. That would be awesome. Okay. So I have this section where, let's see, what do you need to know? David's family operates a Chinese restaurant in their town in Jersey. And David has to work there at the end of every school day and on the weekends. So he plans on going to the school dance with this girl. He's already been warned by his mother that he cannot go on dates until he gets into an Ivy League college. But he's just trying to think of a way to get the tux, to rent a tux by himself, and he can't. He has to ask his mom for money. Let's see. I think you also need to know there's a place, there's a hospital that he's applied for an internship with as well. Okay, I'll just start reading. My heart was pounding in fear when my mother picked me up as usual at the bus stop. I was full on terrified to lay out all my plans in full, which I needed to do, even to have a shot at her giving me the tux money. How was school? She asked. Fine, I said. I saw her mouth twitch. She was suspicious when she didn't hear grades. No tests or quizzes? No, nothing today. What about Harmony Health? Still nothing. Whenever I didn't have a clear marker of success to report to her, she liked to go fishing for a deficiency. When are you going to hear? Soon, I think. We rode in silence a little bit. I couldn't tell if she was in a good or bad mood, but I figured I could go fishing too. Mom? Yes? Do you think every Saturday night is going to be busy at Tung's garden? She actually laughed. Hope so. Don't you hope so too, David? Yeah, I guess. I couldn't muster the courage to bring up the dance. Once we got to the restaurant, I went into work mode. Every time I thought I was going to get a break for a few minutes, another task presented itself. Soon the night was almost over. We were cleaning up. It was now or never. I'd already decided that there was no way I was going to tell my mother about the dance once we got home. She'd said numerous times that when she gets home, she just wants to sleep. Plus, here at the restaurant, there was always the chance I could rally up some backup support from Auntie Tung or my dad. At the very least, my mother would think twice before really lashing into me if it came to that. My newly found level of social acceptance and the potential for a real-life girlfriend was riding on being able to go to the dance. I could be as cool at Shark Beach High as I was at the Chinese school in Chinatown. But in order for that to happen, I needed to go to Nordstrom this week. There was no way to put it off any longer. Mom, I said hoarsely. She was stapling receipts near the cash register. Yes? Can you help me rent a tuxedo? Tuxedo? What for? I want to go to a school dance. She put down the stapler and curled her hands into fists. You want to go to a dance? My shoulders involuntarily shrugged out of fear. A girl asked me to go, and I said yes. A girl, said my mother, like a TV detective announcing she'd found the murder weapon. I heard my father moving somewhere behind me, possibly taking shelter. Who's this girl? Christina Tao. My mother flared her nostrils. Is she your secret girlfriend, David? No, I said. I don't have a girlfriend, much less a secret girlfriend. Tao, she said venomously. It sounds like a Cantonese name. My mother sometimes expressed distaste for Cantonese people for no explicable reason. How many times have I told you you're not allowed to have a girlfriend until college, and you'd better get into an Ivy League school? It was the end of yet another long day of work, but my mother didn't seem tired at all. She was as mad as I'd ever seen her. You said that enough times, I said. I looked around for some silent show of support. Auntie Zhang's English wasn't great, but she could probably understand what was happening. Yet she was diligently wiping down a tabletop, her head bent. My father suddenly found that something in the kitchen required him. After a brief pause, my mother was on me again. You're not even number 1, are you? She pointed at my nose. All the way down at number 8. You spend too much time thinking about girls. That was a complete lie. It angered me into a fatal mistake, talking back to my mother while she was still fired up. I spent too much time working at this restaurant, I protested. You know how long I work here? How long your father works here? You want to run around with this girl while we're spending day and night here making money so we can live? Oh no, don't let her start talking about money when she's this angry. Oh, okay, look, I said, trying to calm her down. It's just one dance. It's not a big deal. Christina's parents are Chinese too, and they think it's okay. But there was no calm eye to this storm. They're not your parents, and that's not my child. Why don't you understand? No, you don't understand. Actually, I truly didn't. A lot of kids are going. Not you, David, my mother thundered. You tell this girl you don't want a girlfriend, and you don't want to talk to her anymore. I already told her I would go, I said. Tell her you can't. You're in school, and school's for learning, not for girls. She closed her lips and wiped her front teeth with her tongue, considering something. Give me your phone, David. What? Give me your phone. I don't want you talking and sexting with this girl. I'm not sexting with her, Mom. Who knows what you're doing? I handed over my phone, and half a second later, it was zipped up in her purse. Nothing ever escaped from there, not even light. Thank you.
Oh my God. He just wants to go to the dance, Lord.
No big deal. No big deal.
You know what? I love this part. I love this scene so much. I'm glad you read it, because it just plays on so many levels. Like, it plays on the fact that not only does he have to, he's not, that part when she says, you're not even number 1.
Yeah.
It's just murder. It's like dead.
Oh, it is, man.
And it's so crucial, because that's literally what she thinks is going to probably save all of them in a way, right? It's like, no, once you become one, then that's that one level that we've got, right? And then also everyone else just taking cover.
No, totally. I mean, the whole thing about being number 1 is like, okay, like in many Chinese families, it's like you like kill yourself to like make sure the next generation is better off. But like, in order to ensure that that generation is better off, they have to be the best at whatever, like in the city here, there's that Shasat test, right?
What's that? I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's the test you have to take to test into the specialized schools like Stuyvesant, Brooklyn
okay.
Tech,
Yes.
Bronx Science. And it's like these Chinese families, a lot of Asian families actually, they will spend like half the family income to get these kids into Shasat, extra test prep stuff.
Right.
Great. So these kids like go to school, and then they go to these Shasat things for like another 3-4 hours, and then they come home and do like 3-4 more hours of testing. So it's all like this sort of really linear kind of track. But the bad thing is that it's also kind of like, it's like anti-learning, because you're so accustomed to always like trying to get the best grade. You're unable to really feel anything that you're learning, and you don't learn to understand yourself, to your natural tendencies and like what you want to do. You confuse what you have to do with what you want to do. So there's this phenomenon of these like Asian kids in college who are like, they had put the blinders on and they got into the Ivy League school, and they don't know who they are or what they really want to study.
But this is what I always like. It's always that thing of like, oh, I was in Harvard, I was in Yale, I was studying to be a lawyer, to be a pre-med, and then and now I'm a TV writer. Like
awesome.
It's like that idea of like, you were so focused, right? And then you get to college, and then hopefully you break free, right? Hopefully you find yourself, but
somewhat,
right? Right.
I don't
But
know.
I mean,
is this true for you? Like
the
you had like
intensity of that.
you had like
No.
one major or concentration like for your parents, and then like one for yourself.
No,
Okay.
because well, my parents had a lower expectation, but this was more because it was for their girls, for their daughters. They were like, oh, if you can type, then you're good because you're gonna work in an office. And so then my father was like, this is a high school that you could go type. And I was like, okay, so I'm a really great typist. And I spent a lot of my summers working in offices. But
wow.
Yeah. But it's like, because it's for him to even think that like I wanted to be an artist and a writer, anything like that, you might as well just be thinking I want to be an astronaut. Like that's just not going to work. Like, why? That is just a side hustle that you do while you work in the office, So that was literally how I was raised. But so it wasn't as intense. But then I assume, like, this is something that I was reading about you, is that this is something that happened to you.
I wanted to write, I've pretty much wanted to write ever since I learned how to write. And that just wasn't going to fly in my family at all. And my mother was like, well, you could become a doctor and then write at night.
See, like, that's like a hobby. It's like, you could, while you're doing doctor, like performing surgeries.
Yeah, totally. Like after you perform, a heart transplant, then you can go home and like do your little scribble.
Oh God, yes. No, I mean, it also is that, like, I can't fault them, right? Because they really were trying to, like, okay, I'm gonna make, like, you're like, no, that's why I go to therapy and I'm taking care of this. No, I can't fault them in that sense, because they were just trying to push me to protect myself, right? Like,
well, I'm sure you've heard of the tiger mom phenomenon, right?
Yes.
This friend of mine wrote this blog post that went viral, and it was tiger moms are the reason why I'm in therapy.
But then I wonder if I'm doing that with my kids, because I had my kids do tutoring this year because she's a junior, and so then I'm like, and then they were telling me maybe I need to do more. And in my head, I was like, maybe I do.
No, I feel like the whole culture, the cram school, is just like invading like education. It's like, well, even if you don't want to do it, all these other kids are doing it, and then you're going to leave your own kid behind. And it's like, I mean, my kid, okay, so, my kid's 7, and he said, like, okay, I want to be a math teacher or a coder. And it's like, okay, I don't want to push him or anything, but maybe you should look more into the coding thing.
You're like, you can't help it. You're like,
maybe that might be better. You enjoy eating?
It's the truth. Oh man. All right, but let's talk about your character. Like, how did I know that it's like semi-autobiographical, but how did David come? Like, is it like an image that came to you? Because you've written all different types of writing, right? So did the voice just immediately, you're like, okay, YA, I'm gonna do it?
Well, my agent has been telling me for years and years and years, he's like, I think you would be really good at YA because you're good at the dialogue and creating these characters and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just kind of slumming in this mystery thing, which I really enjoy, writing as well. That will also continue. But so I just I read a number of books, right? And well, one thing I noticed is that there's like a preponderance of like, female characters,
Mhm.
and like having these struggles and stuff. And when I see these young people having problems, I can't help but like turn it to myself and like look at what I was really struggling with. Um, and and it just kept coming back to like not not having that freedom or anything. David's David's character, his family has the restaurant for their business. We had a hotel, and a
Mm.
hotel is like 24/7 business. You don't ever really close because like
Where was the hotel in? And
I was in like do you know Monmouth and Ocean counties in
no,
Jersey? Yeah,
no.
yeah, like Monmouth like Central Jersey. Like you've seen that show Jersey Shore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's like a clean version of like what the Jersey Shore is like. It was like really, really rough. Um,
That's amazing.
oh, there are kids on this thing, aren't there? Okay. Yeah, so it was like crazy because it was like one of these towns in Jersey that it didn't really have enough people to support the tax base that the town needed to run, and it all depended on having tourists come down for the
Mm.
summer and like spending money like drunken sailors because they were pretty much drunk all the time. Um, and so anyway, I just grew up, and I remember talking to my editor, Sun Young, about this, and she was like, "Wait, when she read the manuscript, she was like, wait, so David's parents expect him to do really well at school, but they also have him working at the restaurant too." And I was like, "Man, that's so many Asian kids have to do that. You got to
Mm.
work the family business and like pull the grades too." So it's like a total pressure cooker, man. It's almost inhumane. Uh, and you know what? When I think about it, I think I did graduate seventh in my class. Oh
Oh
well,
my
yeah.
God.
But for the book, the fictional book, I made it in this Jersey town that was like mostly Asian, and that wasn't a situation when I was a kid, but it's getting to be right now. There are towns in Jersey that are like 80% Asian. And it's like,
Mm.
whoa, like that must be a really, really tough place to deal with academically because it's like, you're when the kids come home from school, it's like all the parents are going to find out what grades all the other kids got, and it's going to be super competitive
Right.
because it's like their kids are a reflection of themselves and their family,
Mm.
and whatever sense of honor they might have. So I was like, in creating the book, I was like, wow, we should have a place called like Shark Beach because it's like these kids are sharks. They
Yes.
will totally do anything to like get ahead of this other kid so that you know they're not going to be called stupid by their parents.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when I read the school, I looked it up to see if
No,
Sharpie, does that school exist? I did because I was like, wow, that's
but I
rough.
did grow up near this place called Shark River,
Okay.
but there's no sharks there, and actually there wasn't a river, it was just a bay.
But then okay, so then there's that intensity, right? But
Mm,
what I really love, which is what you dig deep into, like how these kids relate to each other and how it all comes through David's mind,
mm,
because he kind of cuts loose when he's in Chinatown.
yeah.
And then but when he's in the school, he's just like, well, like so tongue tied and doesn't know how to relate to when Christine asked him out. Like he's like, well, my mom's gonna say no, and you're just like, she's asking you out on a date. Like, boy, say yes, what's wrong with you? But he's like, well, and I love that. I love the
Oh, well,
contrast
thank
of
you.
both those.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just and it really kind of plays on what all of us are trying to do when we're at that age or even in college, is like
Mm,
dealing with your different personas, right? Of how to navigate this kind of world. But I wanted
mm,
to know actually about Christina. can you talk about how you wrote about, how she came about, and just even describe what she's like, because she's super fascinating to me.
Yeah, Christina is from like this. Okay, Shark Beach itself is a pretty upscale kind of town, and David's family is a bit of an outlier because they operate this restaurant within this really upscale town that has most of the parents who are doctors or lawyers or like very high powered hedge fund managers and stuff. And these are the people who began moving into Shark Beach in droves because there was a gentrification drive in David's town, which used to manufacture bricks. And these old factories are being knocked down, and the reclaimed bricks are being used to build the mega mansions for people. Very symbolic. And so Christina's family live in one of these LEED compliant mansions. And, it's no knock against her, but it's like she and these other kids are growing up in this kind of more centralized kind of bubble, in which they're like, what's up with this David Tung kid? Is like, he doesn't even dress nicely. And while these kids, it's a struggle for David to like beg his mother to take him to Nordstrom to like help him rent this tux. But these other kids are like, their parents are like totally like helping them find like the latest stuff, all the nice clothes. I mean, they probably have like, I don't even know if there's like is there like a membership club at Nordstrom that what is that, like a personal shopper kind of thing? But Christina is just going to be, she's just going to be like lethal at some point. She's going to be like this M&A shark who like goes out there and buys up companies and fires everybody because it's creating value for the stakeholders.
But I kind of loved her and disliked her, because I was just like, she knows what she wants. She's gonna go get it. And David is just sort of like, okay, I guess, but also just trying to figure out how he's gonna do this with all the pressure from his family. All right, so this is the one thing that kind of was heartbreaking to me in a way, and I would love for you to talk about it, is can you explain to me the relationship between him and his father? Because those drives are so painful and so like just literally filled with silence.
Yes. The long train rides into the city, like where his father typically falls asleep. But that is a thing. It's like I don't feel like it's a Chinese in China kind of thing. I feel like it's with the diaspora and like the immigration. Like David's father is in coming to the US, he's already kind of broken with the family line back in Asia, and part of that is feeling disempowered in the US, right? And also David's mother is very strong, so David's father is kind of retreated into himself. This is a real phenomenon between like first and second generation Asian Americans. The father's like really silent, doesn't really talk much. I met this guy who's a part of my extended family, and I remember being told that he doesn't say very much. He usually sits by himself. But one morning, I came into the kitchen and he was sitting there, and I just started talking to him, and he brought out this old photo book of when he was in Hong Kong and like in his 20s. He had this really important job at this shipping company, and he like really came to life. He was like talking about how he was helping with logistics before there was logistics, and how these companies depended on him and stuff, and like
Mm.
shipping stuff around. I mean, okay, shipping doesn't sound really exciting, but he was really psyched for it. You know,
Right.
and I was really important. Even had my own office, uh, and then I came here and I had nothing. And I think he worked in the supermarket
Mm-hmm.
for decades.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, that was really powerful for me because I totally can relate. Like, right, it's like the things that a person it's something that I've been thinking about a lot is like this idea of like, oh, everyone thinks about like, yeah, you come to the US because you're gonna make it, and it's like, it's a better life and all that. And this was the thing that I was fed to when I was young, and I was like, well, actually they were pushed out. Like they were pushed out of Puerto
Mhm.
Rico because there was literally nothing there,
Mm.
whatever. And so there's this idea of like, what is home, where is home, and how this fantasy that I have of Puerto Rico, but I have I barely have a relationship there. It's like this fantasy that I have in my head, and I don't know. So it's just like this idea of like my parents and how they left is like the biggest thing that a person can do. Like you
Huh.
leave your home and not have anyone around you, and just might
Mm.
have one or two people in the Bronx that could take care of you, or not, if you have
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and just
yeah.
figure it out, like figure out working in this factory, figure out this and that. So it's just, I don't know, I'm always overwhelmed by how our ancestors even managed.
Mm, 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 mm.
But
I mean,
yeah, go ahead, please.
there's like toxic masculinity at one end, and then
Mm.
there's the emasculation at the other end.
Oh my God, yes,
Like,
yes.
but like David's father is able to dig into his reserves to take a stand against this evil principle from the Chinese school for David. So
I
that
do,
finally
and
gets
I was like, ah.
the
Like, yes, because he has it in there. He knows, like, there's love there. Even with the mother,
Mhm.
there's love there,
Yeah.
even if she's screaming at him.
Yes. Yes.
But there is that, and there's love, and there's that fear, right? And
Mhm.
that's what really is kind of pushing them forward in a way of like, we can't fall back to what we were before, or what, we have to move forward, we have to. And her fear is always of like, look at this other restaurant and how they're doing. Right, like this is her constantly like on the lookout.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's like not even really a competitor, but she's paranoid. She's like, no,
I totally get
no,
it
they
though.
must die.
I love that. I was just like, oh yeah, I get it.
Mm.
So was it easy for you when you were doing the YA book? I mean, did you, because people have told you could do the dialogue, and that's usually where I started. I was like, I was
Mm.
always writing this dialogue that was always like 16-year-olds,
Mm.
and
Mm.
it came
Mm.
fairly easy for me. But did you find the transition at all difficult?
I always think about myself. I think about like what I would have wanted to read.
Yes.
When I was a kid, and I feel like with a mystery book, it's like you would come to a mystery book, you want to be fooled, right? You want someone to trick you and like move the ball under the shell so that you got to figure out what's happening. But I feel like young people, they want to read for the truth. They
Mm.
want you to be truthful, and like it's not easy being truthful. There's a lot of pain that you have to bring to it. I put like a lot of personal pain into this thing. Um, one thing that I think about is, okay, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like, at family funerals, there's always people that you have no idea who they are, and like they're like the parts of the family that hate your part of the family. Like, so you have no idea who they are, and like there were kids like my age. I'm like, wow, these are like my cousins, and like I have no idea who they are or anything. And
Right.
then when the ceremony's over, we're just gonna split. This is it.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah. I've never written about the funeral, like when my grandmother had her funeral and I went to Puerto Rico, and I literally, like, there's so many families there, like so many members of my family that I had no idea who they were,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And it's that feeling of like, and so I love that. I loved it because I was like, give me all the stories. Like, this is, you know, whatever, he had another family, you know, whatever, all the drama, all the bochinche, give me all of it. Because the one thing that for my family is that they love to keep their secrets. They don't want to share anything bad.
Oh, no, you mean like never tell anybody? Like, I'm going to take this to the grave and never share it with anybody kind of thing?
Yes. And I'm just like, this is where fiction lives. I'm like, give me all your secrets because I intend to write it. No, I'm just like, this is like, I can't live like that. Like, I don't have that life, you know? I'm just like, this is a terrible story. This happened to me. And I'm just going to like, well, I know I could write about it later. Like, like it's horrible. Maybe it's painful, embarrassing, but it'll be something I'll put it in a story. It's definitely the way I feel. But I guess for me, like, do you feel, you were talking about being painful, and this is something that I struggled a lot more so with Never Look Back, because it was more painful to write, because it had to do a lot more with Hurricane Maria and my family and horrible, painful things, right? And so when I write something, I don't know that I'm going to be writing about this one horrible thing that happened to me until after I've written several drafts. And then I realize, oh, I'm writing about an abusive relationship. I didn't know I was writing about that, but it comes out later. I mean, do you have, you know, I know that you went in there knowing, maybe, or maybe you didn't, that you were going to talk about these certain things that were painful in your childhood.
I mean, I feel like, okay, just knowing that I'm writing for a younger generation, the younger generation is going to pick this up. Someone a third of my age is going to be reading this. And, you know, technology changes, but like a lot of things don't change about growing up. And I'll tell you, you know, when I was in high school, man, I thought I was going to die. I really did. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was like, I felt so much pressure, you know, and I was like, I want to be honest. I want to show my pain in this so that they can recognize themselves as well. It's something I would have wanted, you know, and not like a happy, goofy kind of thing, you know. I feel like there's a tendency for that, but I just kind of wanted it to be a little harder, you know. I don't know, but I feel like if I hadn't put in painful things, I wouldn't have felt happy as an author. I mean, cathartic, right? I mean, is that how you felt? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I felt I'm happy, right? And I know that young people can relate to the story as a love story, as a story of hope, but also they can relate to the painful parts, you know. And all I want is conversations. I want kids to be able to have those kind of conversations, like you. Like, you want to be like, okay, you might be able to relate to what is happening with David, or not, but you could relate to the pain of this, or the, you know, not being able to be good enough for your parents, or the, you know, or just wanting to be loved, or whatever it is that you could connect in some way. And so that's why I love writing young adult books, because I'm really kind of working through things probably without thinking about it, but also I just want that conversation to open up for young people, to those who are silent, you know, who are like, aren't able to express themselves in any way, you know. But do you offset, this is sometimes I think about too, and we'll go into questions in a bit, but do you offset it with the humor? Do you think about that, you know, like conscious, like I need to inject something light?
I mean, maybe, but okay, but like, I mean, some of the pain is funny.
Right. Right. You're like cringing and laughing at the same time.
Yeah. yeah, I don't know. There is the laughter of recognition, right? Where you're like, oh no. uh,
Yeah.
I mean, right when David's mom says, "You're not even number one." It's like you're number one or you're nothing. Like that's how her mind works. It's like if you're not at the top, it's like you know, y- you don't even count. It's like you're not even trying because you could be.
That's like the most brutal thing. And that's like your mom saying that. I'm like, oh, my heart.
Oh, oh man. But I did it for your own good. I was tough on you to make you tough.
No, so painful, so painful, but so
Yes.
relatable, right? Like it's like, oh, okay. I guess that because even though my parents may not have been that like that tough, I do recall having to wait. It was 5 of us, and we would wait in line with our report cards, and we would go into the bedroom one at a time, so he
What?
could look over it like he's Godfather or something. And then all he would ever do is like, what happened here? That's what he would say. What happened here would be like, it's not, why isn't this an A?
Oh
He'd be like, what
no.
happened here?
Man,
I'm
see,
like,
you got to see The Godfather on the day his daughter's getting married. See, because he's got to be nice.
right. That's what we need is the YA Godfather.
The YA Godfathers.
All right, so
man.
I think maybe if we have questions, if people have questions, if not, we could just keep talking about painful
asking
Godfathers.
anything. My family lives in my family lives in Howell. Used to go to the Jersey Shore all the time. Hey, Marilyn, that's awesome. I hope you had fun. Oh my gosh. But like when everyone would come down from the Jersey Shore, it was my job to like sweep up like all the broken glass from the beer bottles and all the bottle caps. And there were so many, and it was
Oh
just
my
endless.
God.
We had this huge driveway. It was like this U-shaped driveway, and it was huge. It was probably like a quarter mile long, and I had to sweep that whole thing like every Sunday when everyone like just was hungover and got in their cars and drove back to the city. I'd be sweeping that whole thing up.
Oh God.
But like David, it was always fun when we would have to go into Chinatown to like buy groceries and stuff, because it was like there I could have a little bit of freedom. Hey, do you know this place called Chinatown Fair on
What's Chinatown Fair? Do I know
oh
that?
man, it's this place. Yeah, if they have the tic-tac-toe playing chicken.
What?
Yeah,
What is happening? Wait.
Yeah. It was this big arcade in Chinatown that all the kids would go to, and like so you put in a quarter, and if you can beat the chicken, you get like a fortune cookie, right? But meanwhile, like the chicken is like picking out this stuff, and the chicken is always winning at tic-tac-toe. And I was like, how is this chicken winning? Does it have like a bird brain thing? Like this is the one thing it can do. But if you look over the edge, you could tell like there was like this red piece of plastic, and it was preventing you from seeing that there were like these red lights behind it that were lighting up, showing the chicken where to peck. Because if the chicken wins, it gets like some bird feed. So the chicken always wants to win, because then otherwise it doesn't eat.
Oh my God. And no, I don't know this. Does this place still exist?
Okay, it exists, but the chicken thing is long gone. I'm sure it violated so many laws against animal cruelty. They also had the companion thing, which was the chicken dance thing. You put in a quarter, and this metal plate spins around. The chicken comes out and like struggles to like walk on this thing, and then
Why didn't I know about this? It's amazing. This is like a place that I'll be like, yo, and we all just show up. A bunch of high schoolers just like, yo, I heard about this place.
the chicken, yeah.
That
But,
is hilarious.
so that was like cheap amusements for a kid, you know. And
Oh
then
my
you
God.
go to the park in Chinatown, you buy like fireworks from all these kids, like better fireworks than you get in Jersey.
Oh my God. We would
Yeah.
hang out in China because the school that I went to, I was so desperate to leave the Bronx back then that
Mm.
I would take a train all the way close to South Street Seaport.
Wow.
High school was there. And so then it was like an hour-long train ride. And then we would hang out like in Chinatown or South Street Seaport. That was me just trying to get away. I think there's a question. Let me see. There's a couple of questions. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, Neela, there's a question about um, books set in Taiwan, along with New York and Jersey. Ed, do you think you'll write about other places? And Lillian, what about you? Are you all you ever write about is the Bronx? It's true. That's what
The
Neela's trying
Bronx
to
is
say.
the world. Come on, man. Everything happens there.
What about you, Ed? Are you gonna venture out of Jersey, out of New York?
New York, New Jersey, Taiwan. What else is there? What else is there that I could credibly write about that I've really lived in? How old I didn't see LA until I was like 27. And I didn't set foot in San Francisco until I was like 33. So I'm not like a super well-traveled guy outside of what I'm familiar. I mean, I grew up on the East Coast and stuff. And I feel like whenever I'm in LA, I'm always the guy cursing more than anybody. And people are like, whoa. I mean, this is just how we talk.
I mean, that's me. I mean,
It's like
just ask my
F-bomb,
kids. They're
it's
they're used to it.
It's just a funnier way to talk, I guess. I don't know, right?
It's true. I am writing a book is set in LA, a YA book. So we'll see what that feels like. But I'm not, I'm literally writing because it's outside my door. I'm not venturing far into LA. I'm just like,
I mean, 20 years, you are an Angelino now, right?
now I could bet, like, I'm still nervous about even doing that. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't.
So, whenever I'm there, my wife won't let me drive. She won't let me drive because once I was driving and I ran a red light, but it was like 6 a.m. and the streets were empty. And all I was doing was driving into like one of these strip malls that are all over LA. And like she freaked out. She's like, "You're not driving anymore." And so
that's it. You're just like, well, at least you get to see LA.
yeah. I'm a good driver too. I had a lot of practice from playing like, Sega Turbo.
Right. That's literally how I learned. So which books are you reading, or what's on your bookshelf now, or
What's on my, I'll tell you what, I have like 300 books on my bookshelf because I'm the reader for one of these book award things.
Oh man.
I'm on the reading committee. So it's like every day we're getting in like 4 or 5 more books because they're trying to beat the end of the year deadline and stuff.
Oh wow, that's
intense. I was very dedicated to never look back. This was like an oasis in like very, very mediocre books.
Oh, thank you.
This is a wonderful book, everybody.
Thank
Seriously.
you. That's hard. Like I find I've had it's been harder for me to read because I'm actually, like you, I'm been asked to judge, or I'm asked to blurb books, and I try, but because of stress, it's really hard for me to even concentrate. So I'm trying, I'm hoping to get back to reading. So right now, what I'm reading, Jesus and Meryl's book, which is like forgot what it's called. Is there advice book? Is there advice book? It's like knowledge or something. I forgot. But anyway, it's hilarious, and it's the only thing I can handle right now because it's like literally Bronx accents on a page.
Wow.
Just telling me how to I don't know, live my life. So
you know what? This other book I'm reading for fun, I'm able to read like a page a week. Seriously.
Yeah.
Dahlgren by Sam Delaney. It's like this dystopian, futuristic disaster kind of world.
Yes. I read that
Yeah.
many years ago. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's
Don't tell me.
no,
No
no. It's
spoilers.
just like yeah. But I was when I could concentrate. I could read that book, but now I can't.
Okay, I have a question for you. How has being a parent changed how you write?
Oh, I write a lot more horror.
What?
I'm not. I know I joke, but it's true.
Huh.
I feel like I'm heading a little bit more towards scarier stuff
Wow.
because I don't know, because being a parent and being a parent at this point in time is scary, and so
Yeah.
I equate it to having control of the scary, and so if I could write about it, then I can control it, and so I think that's where I'm heading towards a little bit more. Is a little bit scarier stuff.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what you have to look forward to. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
I'm usually too sleepy to feel scared.
There's a question.
Okay.
Did you plan to write David Tung for a young adult audience?
Yeah, but also accessible to anybody who kind of grew up with that vein or is familiar with it. I mean, certainly it doesn't represent all Asian Americans. It's a very particular. I wanted to be really, really specific, like these people and their environment that they were in. And to also have the intersectionality with the kids in Chinatown who have a bit more of a freer reign. I mean, Chinatown has always been the place where Chinese Americans come to and like make this political and artistic stand, like from all over the US and all over the world. Do you know that guy, what's his name, Choi Hark? He's the guy who he went on to direct all these action films with Jet Li. But this dude was he was like ethnic Chinese from Malaysia, and he came in and he was a part of this whole Asian American arts movement in the 70s in Chinatown. And he drew like murals everywhere and stuff. But like all these murals are gone now because of gentrification.
Whack.
Yeah. I remember I was trying to go up in this one building that had one of his murals in the stairwell, but they had an auto lock on the door and I couldn't get in.
They're like, you're not the first one.
Yeah. Not this time.
That's hilarious. Oh man. All right, so there's one question here. How did you know the book was done?
How did I know the book was done? I don't know. I kind of feel like, it's hard. Anytime you open the book and you're flipping through random pages, it's like, I could have made that better a little bit, right? But maybe when it reaches the point where it's like you're kind of in a stupor and you've read it so many times at that point where it's like you've almost kind of like downloaded the whole thing in your brain, and then you start being surprised by like some of the turns in the book. That's a good time to stop. They always say that a play is never done because whenever a new director picks up a play and they reinterpret it kind of changes. But a novel does have to be a snapshot in time, I feel.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's it's if I look at it, I'm like, oh, I could totally rewrite this again. Like I'm just like, well, but yeah, you just have to let go. Like there's a point when you're just like, well, I have a deadline and I have to get it in, and it is. It's a snapshot of the type of writer you are at that moment, and that's fine. But I've learned to think of it that way. It took me a moment. It's really kind of hard to read stuff. I don't know if you do this, but I would do this. I would read it if I'm doing a reading, and then I would just edit it as I'm reading.
I always do. Right? In fact, I did.
You're still editing.
But like the spoken word is different from the written word too. And it's like,
Oh well. Okay, so what another question. Hi Vicky. What are your favorite dialogue exercises or prompts? That's a good question.
Wow, exercises or prompts. Why don't you go first?
Smart.
That's my prompt.
Right, that's my prompt. Just I just like to open I'm corny, but I like to use like Pinterest. This is bad corny, but I use Pinterest for inspiration. And so there's there's usually a folder or something that I'll use. And if I open up a folder, it'll mostly photographs or anything that kind of like seems like movement or something that moves me in some way. And then I'll use that image and then I'll just try to write a little short story, a flash fiction or something. So I'll just have that question of like, if it's a girl or something, it's like, who is she or what happened or the beginning of any kind of a dialogue, just throw myself in there so I could start writing. Because if not, I just won't. Like if I'm stuck in some way. So, but I need visuals to get me started.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. This is what works for me. It's like I don't want to write and then get distracted while I'm writing. So I try to distract myself as much as possible before writing. So like I'll like see a whole movie before writing, because it's like it's especially good if I'm not really into the movie, because it's like, oh, I could be writing right now. So, but if it's a good movie, that's a good thing too. But it's funny. I don't know if you are, but like I know a lot of writers are like movie buffs because they watch so many movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch a movie before I'll do anything to avoid writing. So I'll watch a lot of movies. I'm like, oh, I need this for research. And it's not, it's just for me. Yeah, but I use Pinterest, and also it's just good. I don't like to listen to music. I don't know if you do, but I like to create playlists for my stories, for my novels.
I like to listen to music, but like wordless music.
Okay.
Like instrumental stuff.
Yeah.
Jazz or Boris. You ever hear of Boris?
Boris is German expressionist, some kind of.
No, they're this Japanese, like kind of, I don't even know how to describe, it's like punk metal shoegazy kind of stuff, and most of their songs don't have any lyrics, but it's pretty noisy stuff, so that it kind of it becomes this white noise.
Yeah.
It's good.
I love that. Well, playlists are always good. Oh, there's the Jesus and Meryl book. Good looking out.
Oh, good.
I don't know the name of the title, but it's very funny and very Bronx. So if you want that little taste of really probably horrible advice, then you can. So I know it's 4:00. Do we continue? What's the word? Oh, shout out to the kid Meryl and yes, Vampires versus the Bronx is the funniest movie. Have you seen that, Ed?
Have not. No.
It's on Netflix and
really?
It's hilarious.
Okay.
Especially if you're like, I don't know, I was an 80s kid, so I loved all those Lost Boys, The Goonies, all those kind of silly movies. And this is like literally like a nod to it, but modern day Bronx.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I did see all the Stranger Things.
Yeah, but it's not as obnoxious. And you have brown kids. So move on from Stranger Things.
No, totally. Watching that tonight.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's called Vampires versus the Bronx. Shout out to Oz Rodriguez, Dominican. He's the director and directs stuff for SNL. All this stuff that I know, because I always look out for the people who are the Puerto Ricans or the Dominicans. Okay, that's it. I'll stop talking.
It's all good. Oh, Memphis is on. She's here to call time.
I know. She's like, that's enough.
7:01. It's 4 p.m. your time, Lilliam. I don't want to. I'm just, it's like, it's been a very fun conversation. Really enjoyed watching you two go back and forth. Thank you for answering the questions. Your reading was really and delightful. This was this was delightful. Thank you both for coming. Thank you for sharing your work with us.
Oh, thank you for having us. Thank you, Lilliam.
Yeah,
thank
it
you,
was
Memphis.
fun.
Anytime, keep us on your list for when you come out with your next books, you come out with your horror. Here for you. Any YA you're coming out with, any more adult stuff you're doing, we're always here. Thank you for sharing. This was fun. This was exciting in a way that not all book conversations are. So I appreciate that.
Friday, we gotta get this party started.
Got to bring up the energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody buy David Tung Can't Have a Girlfriend, and then the rest of the title, which is so long.
Everybody buy this as well.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. It was really fun being here.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you for attending a Word Up event. If you want to hear about anything else that we're doing, you can follow us on social media or join our mailing list. We're at Word Up Books on everything, and you can continue following the David Tung journey with hashtag David Tung Can't. Thank you so much. And take care. I'll see some of you next Friday for Lomas Lit. I'm looking forward to that. So shout out to the Lomas Lit readers here. And yeah.
Oh, shout out to Neela, the first editor on David Tung. Had 2 editors. That's how big the book was.
Yay, shout out to Neela. All right, guys, have a good one. Be safe. Take care of yourself, eat a lot of candy, and I guess go vote if you have to.
Yeah,
But
Lilliam, I'm holding you to that horror book, man.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Come January, I'm gonna write it. Watch.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys. I'm gonna go find out what everybody's doing.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I'll see you guys.
Bye.